Hey guys, Sean Phillips here. Welcome to brand new DVD Blu-ray Tuesday shopping video today. Today, gonna go out, see if anything new came out, see what kind of stuff's on sale. Also, at the end of this video, I'm gonna have some reviews of some new Arrow video releases, some really cool stuff like The Mutilator and The American Horror Project, and some other really cool titles as well. So definitely stay tuned for that at the end of this video. So anyway, though, guys, let's go out and see what we can find today. Into Target we go. Yeah, the main things that came out today was Spotlight, which I talked about in my last update. Really liked this movie a lot, and My All-American, which was okay. This one also came out today called Extraction, Stephen C. Miller's new movie. Definitely interested in seeing this one. He directed the Silent Night, Deadly Night remake, and that one coming out called Submerge, which looks pretty cool. And the other thing today was The Good Dinosaur, and they have, I don't think they have any exclusive editions of that, but they do have a 3D one, because people were talking about that in the last video, if there's a 3D edition. And I believe this was today as well, too, this new Gumby one, which was the 60s volume one from the 60s. I always loved those as a kid, watching those reruns. Mainly like the 80s ones, though. I'll always be the king of Barbies. I may not speak of them all the time, but I love Barbies. Barbies. Into the Shopportunity thrift store we go. So let's see if there's anything different in here. I'm seeing like all these thin cases for like things for like Discovery Kids, and they had one in a thin case for Little People Big World. Like, I don't even know if these are like promo things that they would give out for people like to review the series for TV or something. Because of these, I don't know what these things are. And they always have these. Every time I go in thrift stores, they have these super dentists. Like around here, it's like this dentist company, and they like produce their own like kid show, like that they kind of like sell there, like to promote their dentist company. But they're really weird, and like I don't know. It's like I've never seen a dentist company that produces their own like kids kind of show, movie or whatever it is. It's really kind of odd. And I think this might be, I have this already, but I think this might be slightly harder to get. I don't know though. I'm sure at some point this is going to come to Blu-ray, The Stepford Wives. But and also, see, there's another Super Dentist one. Like I said, every time at like thrift stores and everything, you always see these. And this is like some kind of a Deal or No Deal TV game. Like, I remember they were doing a lot of these kind of TV games, but when DVDs were sort of newer, they were doing a lot of these. And I don't know if there's anything else different in here. Billy's Boot Camp. I don't know this one. I don't think I've ever seen this one. Natalie Portman movie. Goya's Ghost. This is definitely one that I do not recall ever seeing in my life. I do not know anything about that. Dolph Lundgren thing. And that, it's making me think of that new, Kindergarten Cop 2 one, which I'll watch that, but it looks really kind of strange. It definitely has that shot, direct-to-video vibe, which it is, but like a direct-to-video vibe, like a movie from like 2005 or so. It definitely has that kind of real 2005 vibe to it. See, look, another Super Dentist. Another Super Dentist. They've got a million of these. These are like, like I said, you always see these Super Dentists here. And what this one is, Death of a Ghost Hunter. Not know this one either. This is an old Welgo USA release. I don't know much all about that at all. And they've got this, The First 20 Million. This was kind of a cool Ethan Suplee movie that I feel like not a lot of people saw. Rosario Dawson's in this movie, Jake Busey. That was kind of cool. This is a weird one to see too. Grounded for Life, the old Anchor Bay release. This has like been released again from Mill Creek, but this is like the original one when they put this out. You never see this one. But I'm not seeing anything really too different in here. Like I said, I always come here every so often and just see if they change anything up and get anything different in here. Yeah, but it looks like all the same kind of stuff. And they do have some VHS over here, but a lot of like the typical stuff you see a lot. But I don't see the one thing that you always see in here, Titanic. They seem to have been without Titanic, the one VHS you always see when you're looking at VHS. I have to show this before I leave. Like, look at this weird thing. Jarrett something or other, he ain't right. It's like him in drag, and this is really, really peculiar. These glasses and stuff. This is probably the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Pierce Arrow Theater. I do not know how much these things are in here. This is sort of the kind of thing you might have to get. I don't know. It's really, really peculiar looking. Into Walmart we go. Yeah, it's definitely a small DVD release week because like all the stuff here from last time is the same. Like I don't think anything whatsoever in here has changed at all. I think it's all the same titles as last week and probably the week before. But I'm gonna have a review of this one at the end of this video called Julia. This is actually a pretty interesting movie. I actually kind of like this one a lot. One of those movies you like kind of think about a lot. But like I said, I'm gonna have a review of that at the end. But it doesn't look like there's too much this week. I don't think there's even any TV shows or anything else that have been released this week either. It's like I said, it's a real small week, not really seeing anything. I remember years ago when I was like, a lot younger, I used to always see these boxes, I'd peek inside of them and try and like buy stuff early. I would always open them up. Because I don't know, years back I used to always do that, but dig in these boxes and try and get stuff weeks early from these boxes. It was like the thing I used to always do. And I saw someone put a picture up and said they found like that Satan's Little Helper movie, on Blu-ray, and like they saw like one of these bins, but I haven't seen it at all. Like I never really dig in these things, but you don't see it on Amazon or anything. Like I don't even know where people are finding it. It's a Blu-ray release of it. The DVD's everywhere, but it's like a strange Blu-ray of it. And someone was saying that they thought it was like censored or something. The movie was edited, but let me know if you guys have seen that or not. But I haven't seen it anywhere. They said they saw it in a Walmart. Into the Goodwill we go. Well, we'll see if there's anything in here. Yeah, every so often, it's like like I always say, they sometimes put some different stuff in here. Other times, it's always the same. I was thinking, I wish at some point they put that Shining Time Station show. I feel like that show is never going to come out on DVD or anything. It's like kind of been forgotten about for some reason. I don't know why, but it's like I feel like that's the one thing we're never going to see on DVD or Blu-ray. I don't know why. It's like totally like been like you always see these other Thomas the Tank Engine things, but never that. That was the one I used to love as a kid. Into Best Buy we go. And they have their own exclusive one of the Good Dinosaur with the exclusive, lenticular slipcover. I believe this one, this is like the only one that's only sold here, and that has the DVD and Blu-ray. I don't know if they have the one with the 3D one with the exclusive cover or not. But that really was, like I said, the main big release this week, besides the other ones I showed. And this also came out, I believe this was this week. This was really pretty good. Tony Todd's in this movie. Really pretty cool, different take on Frankenstein. I really love this one. I was surprised, too, with how good this was. Another one this week, I'm going to have a review of this at the end of this video, was I Smile Back. Sarah Silverman one, and this one came out too, and I definitely would recommend this, Moonwalkers. That was pretty good. Rupert Grint movie with Ron Perlman. I actually really kind of like this one a lot, but those are really the main things that came out today. A lot of people ask me about 4K, what I think about this, and I don't know if down the line I might get a new TV for this, but the next TV I'll get might be 4K, but I'm not jumping into that because you have to get a whole new player, and there's only certain movies that you would really need to see in 4K. I mean, yes, it's going to be like the most uncompressed video you can get, but it's just not something that I feel like I need to jump into. I'm sure down the line, like I said, that the next TV, I'm sure a lot of people's next TVs will probably be 4K, but it's not something I'm going to go, oh, I got to go get a whole new TV right now just because of this. And the titles that are coming out are kind of like the most recent stuff, and no one really wants Fantastic Four reboot on that. You know what I mean? The Martian would look pretty good in it, but it really depends. But I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about the whole thing. But I really don't know if it's something I'm going to jump into. And I guess Best Buy is finally getting rid of CDs. Because look at all the CDs. This is all that's left. They're all missing in these sections. I don't know if they're changing around or they're finally just getting rid of them, because last time I was in here they were not this empty. So I guess we might be seeing the end of CDs at Best Buy. I still buy new CDs for certain things that I like to play in the car, like the Grimes and stuff like that, and I put them on the iPad, to take to the gym and stuff. But I still like to have the CDs. I don't buy them all the time, but like I said, I guess we're seeing the end of CDs at Best Buy. I don't know. So that's all for this DVD Blu-ray Tuesday shopping video. Like I said, stay tuned now for some new DVD and Blu-ray reviews, some Arrow titles, and some cool horror titles, and some other stuff as well. Like I said too, I guess we're seeing the end of CDs at Best Buy. I don't know. Let me know, guys, if you see that going on your, Best Buys, that they're all disappearing like that as well. I don't know. I was kind of wondering when that was going to happen there. So they've been talking about it for years. I have a feeling that number of years from now we're going to see that happen with DVDs and Blu-rays. They're going to be all empty like that, which would be a sad day. Then you just have to get everything on Amazon. But anyway, though, guys, like I said, thanks again for watching and subscribing, and stay tuned for some reviews. And the first one I got from Arrow Video is an amazing slasher film called The Mutilator. This is one I had never actually seen before, but it's one of those ones I have always seen at conventions, bootlegs, and bad, really dark versions of this that you could hardly ever see online. So it was never one of those things that you really wanted to watch, because there was never a real released DVD or anything in the past of this ever. at least as far as I know in the U.S. The movie, though, is, and it's also the fully uncut version. The director talks about how they had to go and restore it to get all the gore and everything back in this movie, and it even has the original title, Fall Break, which was the original title of this movie. I actually kind of like the Fall Break title, but the Mutilator one really works, and especially for the 80s, it was a better title for selling this movie. The movie, though, is basically about this kid in the beginning of the movie, who ends up accidentally shooting his mother with a gun. The father comes in and starts beating the kid because he finds out that he killed the mother, and like screaming at him. And then it's years later, the friend is with his friends the son is with his friends at this restaurant, gets a call from his father saying he needs him to come to the summer house, close it up because he's out doing some stuff and needs him to go there and kind of watch the place and fix things up and turn off the water and things like that. So his friends end up finding out about this and going, oh, we got to go there and have a party and hang out there. So of course they all end up talking him into that. They end up going to the house. Literally they know that the father, like I said, who's going crazy, is hiding in the kind of basement of the house in the weird fishing area. And he's going around there lurking around, spying on them, and then killing them one by one in these real violent, really crazy ways. That's essentially what it is. It's a really fun movie, kind of in the style of Blood Rage that, Arrow Video US put out as well, which I really love that one as well. This one's a little bit more serious, like a little less silly in some of the parts, but it still has some funny comedy aspects as well. But this was just such a fun slasher movie. And like I said, too, looks great. And one of those things, too, like I said, that really benefits from Blu-ray, because like I said, there's a lot of dark scenes. And the dark scenes look really good now, cleaned up, because like Blu-ray really helps movies like that when they were really dark. The movie, though, has on here a new making of, talking to a number of the cast members about the experience, and then some the alternate title sequence, like I said, with the Mutilator title, interview with one of the special effects artists on it, and then interview with the composer, because it has a really fun soundtrack and like a fun theme song, like going Fall Break. And it's like, I always love those movies that have like a theme song kind of talking about what the movie's about. But highly recommend this if you guys like slasher movies, 80s slashers, and ones you guys have probably not seen, or not, like I said, there's never been a release of. Definitely check this one out. The next one from Arrow Video US and UK, so it's both all region one, is and that one was as well, all the Arrow releases are this time around, is American Horror Project. This is the first volume. Definitely really excited to see what the next volume set of this is going to be. This is a limited edition set. I think it's limited to, I believe, 3,000 copies, I think. I'm pretty sure about that. I'm not 100% certain, though. But like I said, this is the American Horror Project. I'm going to talk to you guys about what's in here, and I'll show you. It also has a booklet in here with pictures and things like that from the movies. Pictures and stuff like that, and facts and stuff like that about the making of these movies and the cast and everything. But it has 3 different movies in here. The first one is The Witch Who Came from the Sea. This is one that I saw years back. I hardly remembered it, but it was cool to watch this again. It's basically about this woman who, she's out with her niece and nephew, and you can tell she's kind of crazy. She's always telling these stories about her father, who is lost at sea. He's been gone for 15 years. She keeps saying, oh, he's going to be back one day, sooner he'll be back. And you can tell she's kind of nuts. And she's talking about the father a little bit like Pippi Longstocking did in the Pippi Longstocking movie, like, yeah, my father, Mr. Pippilato, he'll be back one day. It was kind of reminding me of that a little bit. I don't know why, but it was just like the same kind of thing about talking about the father who's at sea, and sometimes he's going to be back, and who knows. And she has these weird thoughts, like when she thinks about sex and stuff like that. She sees like men on the beach and stuff, and then all of a sudden she sees herself like strangling and killing these men, and like finding ways that they die. And she starts having like dreams. She's also like a serious alcoholic, is always drinking, but she's having these dreams of her like killing these football players she's obsessed with. Then it turns out the next day these people have turned up dead, and she's all like upset about it, and then kind of wondering like, did she have something to do with this? The police are kind of looking towards her because she's lurking around and doing weird things. That's essentially what this was. Has on here, though, a making of on here, and then a number of interviews and stuff like that. But it's actually a pretty cool, interesting, different movie. The other one in here is the Premonition. It's another one, has, all these have really good transfers. This is one I saw years ago, and, Richard, I think it was Richard Lynch was in this movie, who was in like a bunch of different stuff. He was in Laid to Rest. He was my favorite part of the Laid to Rest movie. But the movie's called The Premonition. It's about this girl who's like, this mother who adopted this girl when she was like a baby, and she's having all these dreams and stuff like that, that the birth mother has found the daughter and kind of kidnapped her and taken her away, and she's having all these awful dreams about it. Of course, though, in real life, the birth mother and Richard Lynch, who's the boyfriend, are actually trying to find this girl. They've been trying to find her for years. They work in this carnival, and they actually actually track her down, like kind of stalking the kid, and it's basically about them kidnapping her, and the adopted mother trying to use her like powers of like connection to the daughter to try and find her, figure out where they are and where they've taken the daughter. It's an interesting movie. I thought this was actually a pretty cool movie, but my favorite one in this set is called like Malatesta's Carnival of Blood. This also has, you know, Tattoo from Fantasy Island in this, and he was amazing in this movie. And this is such a weird, trippy, kind of like real product of the 70s, like druggy, kind of drugged out, weird movie. One of the weirdest ones I've seen. Top of the line, weirdest kind of drug feeling movies of all time. This is, like I said, it's called Malatesta's Carnival of Blood. Now, this is not Carnival of Blood, the one that was filmed at Coney Island. This is another Carnival of Blood that I had never heard of before, like I said. And it's basically about this husband and wife that end up moving and working this carnival. They get their job there the first day, and there's a guy there who owns the carnival, and he's a strange fellow. It's like the strange guy. He kind of reminds me of Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank a little bit. And there's also a guy here there who has a hook hand who's called Mr. Bean. It's almost like Rowan Atkinson like got the name Mr. Bean from this movie. I doubt it, but it would be funny if he did. That was the origin of Mr. Bean, was this movie. He saw this movie in the 70s like a drive-in or something. Then he came up with a name. Like I said, I doubt it. But at night at this carnival, the people who start working there, they start to hear weird things. And they're also there with the daughter. And the daughter's kind of out at night. And they're seeing like these ghouls and weird kind of creatures at night. These ghouls like eating weird things, and then like they're kind of crawling around and watching movies on the TV on this weird projection. These odd movie scenes of them watching things, throwing popcorn at each other. But it's just all these strange, weird things that happening at night. People go into the tunnel of love during the day. They go missing. They're trying to figure out where they are. And there's like, it kind of reminded me too of a little bit of Killer Clowns. Some of the scenes in this weird way. And they go in the like the fun houses and stuff, and it's these weird like pink, purple bubble wrap all on the walls, and cars hanging upside down on ropes. Like I said, one of the weirdest, strangest movies I've seen in my entire life, but absolutely amazing and really makes this set. The next one is another one I had never seen before called Pray for Death. And this is a series of films. I think there's 3 other films in the series with the same actor in this. It's basically about a guy who, you know, kind of hid in his past that he was once a samurai and had samurai stuff in his past. And he was like a fighter. And he living in Japan, and his wife, who's from America, wants to go back and take their kid back there for a different life. So they end up basically moving back there and buying this old restaurant. Of course, in the restaurant, these bad guys hid these jewels in there, and then the cops found out about it and stole them. So then the bad guys end up going back and find that they're missing, and then look at the owner, the old owner of this place, and he said, "Oh no, I sold the place, this new family," and then they come to them thinking they stole the stuff. And they're basically making his life miserable and like hurting the kids, and he basically has to go and bring back like the samurai and get revenge on these people. But really fun 80s action kind of kung fu movie with really cool music in that. The next one from Sony is The Night Before, you know, the new Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Seth Rogen, and Anthony Mackie movie, like I said, The Night Before. And in the movie, something happens with Joseph Gordon-Levitt. He has like a really depressing thing that happens to him on, you know, Christmas Eve, and they kind of make it a tradition of going out and kind of partying on Christmas Eve. And they've always heard about this thing called the Nutcracker Bowl that they heard about these tickets to, and they always had wanted to go to it. And basically, they're all the 3 friends, after years of doing this, have kind of gone in their own directions. They're getting married, getting ready to have kids. They're all kind of like getting away from all doing all this. But Joseph Gordon-Levitt still doesn't want to let this go. But they agree to get together for one last big party, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt finally has found tickets to this Nutcracker Bowl, and he ends up, you know, stealing them from a coat pocket where he's working, but he's like finally has these, and he tells the friends that we can finally do this, we can finally go to this party. So it's them kind of going and trying to have their one last big party together and trying to find this party and what they do at night and all the kind of mischief and things that they get into. But I thought it was a fun movie. As I'm here, deleted scenes, Linorama, Christmas in the Summer, making of, gag reel, A Spirit of Christmas, so a number of different featurettes from the movie, but a really fun film. The next one from Broad Green Pictures, and this one is a really sad movie. Sarah Silverman did an amazing job in this. Totally different kind of movie for her, and it's called I Smile Back, and it's basically kind of deals with depression. It doesn't deal with depression in like a kind of cookie cutter way where it's like, oh yeah, things are going to get better. It deals with it in a really realistic way with her. Sarah Silverman is this mother who is really extremely depressed. She's drinking, she's doing drugs, she's sleeping around with the husband. She's kind of like basically doesn't know how to be happy anymore. She's kind of lost everything in her life that kind of makes her happy. She doesn't really know how to go back. She's kind of having self-destructions continuously, and she basically gets talked into going to rehab, and it's kind of about her trying to get herself back. But like I said, it doesn't take like a cookie cutter kind of thing of going like, oh, things are going to get perfect when she gets out and things are going to do it like this. It's all about the self-destruction and the continuous problems with her and continuously doing bad things to herself. And like I said, it was a really well-made movie, but like I said, extremely depressing. So go on this knowing that this is a really sad movie, but Sarah Silverman gave it a really good performance in this one. I really, really liked it, but like I said, it is very, very sad. The next one is one I really wanted to see, because I always watch these Funimation cartoons and Filmation cartoons, and like they did, you know, the Ghostbusters, you know, let's go Ghostbusters, let's go, that one. But their animation is always kind of cheesy, and it's not the greatest animation. But this one's called The Brady Kids, which was actually filmed, made this show when Brady Bunch was still on, not when it was over, as far as I could find out. And it's basically, instead of having the parents in this, it's the Brady kids. It's all about the kids going on these strange adventures and weird kind of adventures with these like weird, like a bird and this kind of dog, and they're all talking. They're all kind of hanging out in the clubhouse. It's a really strange, trippy, strange show. That it's not a great show, but if you're a fan of the Brady Bunch, and I pretty much have watched everything Brady Bunch, I've seen all those movies, you know, the spin-off movies that they did, the Brady's getting married and all that kind of stuff. I wanted to see this. It's just a fun, really silly thing. It's the entire series of the show. It went on for 2 seasons. But I would watch it if you guys are fans of the Brady Bunch and you guys like especially weird kind of things that I feel like are really forgotten. The next one from Tombstone Distribution, and this one or Archstone Distribution, is called Julia. This is one that I had heard a lot of stuff about. I was really interested in seeing this one. It's basically, though, about, has Ashley C. Williams, from Human Centipede. And it's about this girl who, in the beginning of the movie, she's meeting up with this guy for a date. They're getting ready to go out. And then he's like, oh, I guess to do one other thing. And then these 3 friends that are coming in. And it's basically about these 3 friends who end up basically attacking her and raping her and throwing her out into the ocean and basically leaving her for dead. But the one guy ends up injecting her with a needle to kind of wake her up so she doesn't die out there. So she kind of comes back and is a real wreck from what's happened to her. And she finds out about this kind of group that kind of helps people who have been abused and stuff like that, because she meets this girl at the bar who works there, and she overhears about this group. So she kind of starts to see this group, hearing this doctor saying, you have to do things this way. You cannot take matters into your own hands, but you must do. And the guy who was the doctor was an actor who was in Event Horizon. Always really liked that guy. He was great in this movie. And it was kind of freaky what was going on, but she's basically going out with this group of these girls, and what she's actually doing to these guys and stuff. It's kind of a crazy movie, what's going on. It's not, I felt like maybe the movie might have had to be toned down a little bit, because it wasn't, like they maybe had to cut it a little bit to get an R, because it wasn't as like intense as I would have thought it would have been in some of the aspects of the movie. But I really did like it. Really cool music, and Ashley C. Williams did a really good performance in this movie. I don't know, I would really recommend checking this out. Like I said, the Doctor, too, was really cool and really creepy in this movie. The next one from Vinegar Syndrome, and this is like killer bee movies. I always have loved killer bee movies. My favorite was always Savage Bees, but as a kid I had the biggest fear in the world of bees, scared to death of them. This one's called The Bees, and it's, the director of this did Demonoid, and this is from Vinegar Syndrome. Like I always say too, Vinegar Syndrome does an amazing job cleaning these up, did an outstanding job cleaning this movie up. But it's basically, though, about beginning the movies in South America. There's this doctor who is working on studying bees, and he has like a colony of killer bees, but these workers end up going in there and trying to break in at night to steal the bees. These guys who are like criminals trying to steal them, a guy and his son end up letting the bees out, and they kill the son, and then other people around the town find out about this and basically attack the guy, and all the bees get loose and then start spreading around. The wife ends up surviving, but then in America, the bees all kind of spread around out there and are starting to go around killing people. There's all these crazy death scenes of people falling down, dying from the attack of these bees. That's the best stuff in the movie, is all these over-the-top, really ridiculous deaths of people dying on account of these bees. They're absolutely some of the most ridiculous ones you've ever seen in your life. Them trying to figure out how they're going to stop this and all the issues of going along. John Saxon is the star of this movie. But like I said, a really great transfer on this one. Just a really fun, ridiculous killer bee movie. And the last one in here is the movies that has, you know, of Adventures of Candy and Candy Goes to Hollywood. I had to cover up the picture so no one says anything, but you know, it's a double feature Blu-ray one. These are more adult films, or are adult films. The one that I really liked was Candy Goes to Hollywood. It was this girl who ends up going to Hollywood to try and make it as a star, and she meets this guy called Mr. Door Opener. I think it was like something like that. And she goes on a show that's kind of like a knockoff, like a sex spoof of the Bong show, or called the Dong show. It's really ridiculous what she goes in there and kind of making her a star, and these weird encounters and ridiculous kind of characters she comes across. Like I said, it's an adult movie, but these are kind of like ridiculous. They're not like ones now. They're actually movies with stories and plots and stuff like that. Just absolutely absurd, ridiculous stuff. Like I said, I can't show the cover. Anyone has anything to say about it, but great transfers on both of these. They're just fun, ridiculous movies. But anyway, though, guys, thanks again for watching and subscribing, and I'll see you guys later.